Hit the music.
So hit it.
Hello and welcome to This Is the Play Sports, the podcast. It's a little late. It's kind of late here on a Sunday night. We're happy to have our two guests with us, though, but we had to wait this late because the Arizona TCU game ran extremely late. Thanks for cutting that very short, Mother. Mother's behind the board, running the board. We appreciate her, but we got Eric Jensen and Jim Burton here with us. Pretty exciting, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's good to have you guys here. Eric Jensen, of course, from the Cronny, 1280 The Zone and the End Zone podcast. Jim Burton, a longtime distinguished sports writer and columnist in the state. Guys, thanks for staying up late with us.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. See, I feel like the roles are kind of reversed here. See, I'm an old person at heart. On my nights.
I found that about you from the day we met. I do that, yeah.
On my nights that I have off, I like to try to be in bed, about 45 minutes ago. But for this great podcast, anything for you two.
How about you, Jimbo? You and I are kind of the guys that stay up during the night and read our iPads. Yes. And maybe someday we'll walk through Walmart in the middle of the night if the store's open again 24 hours.
What do you mean someday? I already have. No.
Jimbo's got a key to the building.
Yes, I do. They're not open 24 hours a day now.
I don't think that's returned quite yet. I'm pretty sure
it's coming back, but we're not quite there yet. But
okay, I didn't know. I'll tell you what, I am kind of a night owl, so this doesn't bother me at all. It was a great game to watch. I really enjoyed it, and I questioned some of the officiating, but I did enjoy the game.
Do you think it was more? What do you think, Eric? Was it more about Arizona winning the game or TCU losing the game?
Oh, what a great and cliched sports question you pose right there, Austin.
So we do.
Ben Matherin, I mean, I think Arizona won this game. I think that they took a shot and responded. I think that you could have asked questions if you look at their losses to Colorado and to UCLA.
Certainly not to Utah.
And to UCLA earlier in the year. Both those games, they get punched in the mouth early in the second half and they never come back. And here they trail going into halftime, and at the start of the second half, they overcome the deficit and they play their best basketball down the stretch. So I think that's real improvement from a team that we just, it's a good sign that that they were able to pull through here. And this is what national title contenders do, is they overcome adversity and they win in the clutch.
Right. What a transition, because let's start this game with first quarter. Let's talk about the NCAA Sweet 16. Arizona was the last team to punch a ticket. What do you guys think of the tournament so far? There's been, obviously, I don't know if anybody watched that North Carolina Baylor game, but that was unbelievable that a 25-point lead could be squandered and then they'd come back in overtime and actually take care of the defending champs who were shorthanded. But it's been kind of an exciting tournament, I think.
I'm disgusted, by the way. Many of the Texas teams have shown up, and that the NCAA clearly, while they like having the Sweet 16 in San Antonio, they do not like having Texas teams in the event. So
yeah, that was what I noticed.
Of course, I'm kidding, but
there's an anti-bias, Jimbo. You know that.
I'm not. I'm a UT guy at heart, even though I'm a Utah man. But so it was stuff. I didn't like seeing them lose to Purdue today. But Texas pretty well represented. Well, not very well represented with everybody out now. But I was really impressed. Kind of getting back to the game we just were talking about, or we just watched. Those TCU guys were scrappers. I did feel like there was somebody got bumped there at the very end of the regulation, that maybe there could have been a call, and that just to me, that goes back to an issue I've had.
Lie, though. They didn't win off of it.
No, but I just felt like it goes to one of my points that's always bothered me is this idea of, you got to swallow your whistle late in the game, but a foul is a foul, and there's nothing in the rule book that says officials shall swallow their whistles late in games and ignore fouls that should be called. So I don't know. Arizona did the way they played in overtime. They absolutely deserved that, and I was quite impressed with how they hung in and how they represented the Pac-12.
Maybe suspect officiating aside, what I really have enjoyed about the NCAA tournament, and I this is what we said, going into this is the first normal one we've had in a while.
Yeah.
But in this era of like the NIL era where, super teams are a real possibility, it's still just a lot of fun to see St. Peter's, the Peacocks, punch their ticket to the Sweet 16, see these underdogs make their way in. Eric, I mean, is it going to be a story of the top seed winning this, or how much further can these underdogs go, do you think? Midnight approaching, I guess.
Wake up.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I take just a moment to ponder. Iowa State, people forget, before they hit kind of a mid-season slide, they were one of the best teams in the Big 12 early on in the season. I think that there is a real shot that they make an Elite Eight type run. I'm trying to look ahead to next weekend. And CBS Sports, the website I'm using, doesn't have their matchup set quite yet. Miami. I think both those teams, Miami has been not talked about all year. They were one of the best teams in the ACC. I know the ACC gets kind of crapped on, but Miami was an excellent team this year, had some big wins, played Duke very close both times that they played them. I think that either of those teams, of the underseeded teams, would be the teams I would look for to go on a run. I think Purdue does everything well. I think they might have.
Go ahead, hold it down.
What was that?
Oh, no, just giving a little instruction to our producer. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
You think Purdue's going to hold it down? Keep going, Eric.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize. I got thrown off by the time bomb. I apologize. But I just think Purdue does everything well. They have one of the best players in the country in Jaden Ivey. They shoot the three ball really well. They have good big men, and they play tremendous defense. I think that, unfortunately, St. Peter's run ends in the Sweet 16, and I think Purdue is one of these teams that can absolutely make a run to the Final Four.
I disagree. I think it's Peacocks all the way.
Little trivia for you. Who has their number retired by the University of Miami? Underhanded
of Ohio or Miami?
Underhanded free throws. We're not worried about Ohio. They're not playing now.
Rick Barry?
Mr. Rick Barry.
Uh-huh.
There you go. There's a little trivia for you. Take that to the water cooler tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, all right. Let's go to the second quarter. And we're going to go a little local on us here. We got BYU and the NIT. They're one win away from going to Madison Square Garden for the NIT Final Four. And the Utah women picked up a win in the NCAA tournament before getting eliminated.
This is really where Eric's going to shine, is talking about the Utah women. Let's let Eric percolate on that a little bit. Let's get right into Jimbo, though. Was it a big deal if BYU goes to the NIT in Madison Square Garden?
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, I think I think that their programs like that, they take advantage of things like that, of opportunities to go to the Final Four of the NIT, and so I think it's a big deal for them. I like the way they play. I'm a big fan of Mark Pope, and so I wish him the best.
Definitely. So this is really where Eric is going to shine here. Let me just give you a little backstory. Eric,
Can I just add to the NIT? I
please.
will say it's important that BYU wins the NIT, because as someone who just recently this week produced a Utah State NIT loss, that is not fun. I would not recommend that. It's by far behind the scenes and in front the most depressing broadcast I have ever been a part of in my entire life. It was not fun. I hated every second of it. I would not recommend playing in the NIT unless you plan on winning the NIT, because if you play in the NIT and you lose, that's just extra depressing. You realize you're very middling at that point.
Send cookies to Scotty G. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I got to go to the NIT Final Four with the Utes, and they made it all the way to the championship game and lost to Penn State. And it was amazing when the championship game rolled around. Penn State suddenly had a bunch of fans. Oh, a trip to New York City. Let's go up there, and obviously it's not as easy to get to from Salt Lake City, but it was a big deal for the Utes to get there. Larry Kristoviak and the guys, I mean, I guess you don't have a lot of choice when you're playing for number 69, but it's an accomplishment and something you can build upon for years to come. So, or at least the next season, if nothing else.
But I'll tell you this, Dirk, real quick. Sorry. I mean, we were around when Majerus first came on the scene with the Utes and took that program into, like, they would gradually progress. And when they made that run to the NIT finals, whatever, I can't even remember what year that would have been.
Just remember him pounding the press table.
Yeah.
Remember?
That was a big deal, and that was a big deal for that program. And I mean, we saw what happened to them, what happened to that program over the next few years afterwards. So I do think that's a great opportunity. But yeah, it is the NIT, and I wonder, has a team ever won the NIT championship and the NCAA championship?
And the AAU championship. It's the University of Utah. It's trivia.
Yes, sir.
A bit of trivia for you.
Thank you.
And speaking of the University of Utah, this is what I was been excited about all day. Eric texted me. He's like, "Listen, nobody knows Utah women's basketball on the same level as me. It's not even close. Tell Tyson Ewing he's a clown. He's a joke. It's the Eric Jensen show." Eric, give us your take. Utah women, they go to the tournament. They beat Arkansas. They lose to Texas today. What are the takeaways from Utah's experience in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think it's just an incredibly positive season. I know that losing in the fashion they did to Texas today, kind of getting blown out, is not the best way to end the season. But this was a team that won 5 games last year. 5. They were not very good last year. They struggled with the same issues over and over and over again. Didn't seem to get better throughout the year. And I thought going into the season that this was really a make or break year for Lynn Roberts and this coaching staff, and they absolutely shined. I mean, the team got better at what they were bad at last year. They were terrible at defending the perimeter, and they got a lot better at that. And they were terrible at shooting the free ball, and they were one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country this year. They were incredibly well coached. They fixed the holes that they needed to fix in the transfer portal, bringing in the likes of Micah Jackson and Deja Young. I just couldn't be more impressed with what Utah was able to do this year, and the fact that they were led by a recruiting class, essentially. Gianna Neepkins and Jenna Johnson were the 2 leading scorers on the team. Both are freshmen who started and played significant time as freshmen within it. I think the prospects for next year are very, very exciting. I really do think that the expectation next year should be the Sweet 16. And if they return, who I think they're going to return, which is basically everyone within the starting 5, except for Drew Gilton, who will walk away kind of due to retirement. I believe Isabel Palmer will probably slot in as the point guard next year. They are going to be a Sweet 16 team, and a team that should get top 25 recognition at some point next year if they play well enough in the Pac-12, just because it's the best women's conference in the nation.
Yeah, but if I can interject, anyone who knows Lynn Roberts has got to be real happy for her. She is a classic, and it's nice to see good things happen to good people. So
I think her character, like they wanted to give her as many opportunities as possible to succeed, and it's good to see it paying off there. So let's go into halftime. What do you guys have to drink? I've got this weird pineapple drink I found at the gas station. Eric, looks like Jimbo's got a hydro flask. Cool, awesome. Eric, what do you got?
Eric, he doesn't drink before
I
bedtime.
thought he liked Sprite. I think I remember Eric saying something about Sprite being one of his favorite drinks.
Sprite's good with fried chicken. That was the diatribe I went on. Nothing hits quite like a Popeye Sprite.
It was quite the rant. I remember that. Yeah. Drinks.
Well, I had earlier in the evening around maybe 6 or 7 because I'm a professional, Austin.
Yeah.
I had a one of these high noon hard seltzer type things, a grapefruit flavor. It was tasty.
Oh, at least you got your citrus in.
That's exotic. Wow.
Hit the spot.
So let's segue this beverage conversation into quarter 3. Are we drinking the Kool-Aid on the Utah Jazz right now? I know they've had an up and down year. Right now, they're riding a 3-game winning streak with wins over Chicago, a big win over the Clippers, and then a win today over the Knicks. Do we feel better about them?
Let's not forget that the Clippers are playing without a guy named Kawhi Leonard
or Paul George
or a guy named Paul George. But, remember in the playoffs last year when the Jazz were ousted by the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if beating the Clippers.
Should we be excited about these wins, I guess, is the question.
Well, I think the thing that a lot of people are missing here is they think the Jazz are, among the league's elite. And I'm not sure that they are right now because they're only 2 games ahead of the Mavericks. And in that playoff series, the way the Jazz kind of laid an egg with the Clippers last year, I don't know if it matters if, the Jazz get to wear their white or those ugly uniforms, the colory ones that look like the Houston Astros, more than they do and get to play in front of the home crowd. I don't know that it matters who has home court advantage in the 4-5. And then, the winner obviously moves into a very precarious spot playing the number 1 seed in the West. So I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Eric, are you?
I'm drinking the Donovan Mitchell Kool-Aid because I think he's playing the best basketball of his career, and the success of the Jazz really hinges on him. The ball doesn't move the way it did last year. It's not the same offense. It's not the same kind of explosive 3-point shooting attack that it was last year, but they're getting better. Royce O'Neal has contributed big nights against Chicago and tonight against the Knicks. Jordan Clarkson has stepped up a little bit. I need Mike Conley to show me a little bit more. I have a theory that he's slightly washed, but then he comes through and has some nights where he puts up 18, 19 points. So you can't really say that a guy who's giving you 18 or 19 points every 2 or 3 nights is washed. So I'm hesitant. I don't think the win against the Clippers is a big deal. I get it's for reserves, but Quinn has showed he won't play Jared Butler or Eric Pascal or Nikhil Anderson-Walker, Alexander Walker, in meaningful minutes. That's not his style. That's not something he's willing to do. And I think ultimately, as I've said since October, the Jazz are annoying because nothing they do matters until about 2 weeks from now. They will be judged entirely on what happens from April 1st on. Once April 1st hits, that's when you can start making aspersions about how they're playing. They're at game 73 right now. We'll see how they finish the last 5 games of the season, and we'll see how they play in the playoffs. And that will ultimately determine whether this season is a success or not. But I would not want to play in the Western Conference playoffs right now. Every team is good.
Yeah, I've maintained. I talk about my friends I talk to my friends about this, And I say this is easily the most frustrating Jazz season of all time, at least in my lifetime. Jimbo, in my lifetime, is this the most frustrating Jazz season I've ever seen?
Yes, I tend to agree that I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid as much as I enjoy a cool Kool-Aid over ice. I will say that I am not drinking this Kool-Aid because we've seen this before. We've been here before, and I will say Eric's analysis was very good and it was cogent, but I do tend to think that I agree with Austin. This is a disappointment in a lot of ways, but on the other hand, they still. I mean, you're playing to get to like Eric said a couple weeks from now, and so that the jury's still out as far as that's concerned. But regular season, it's been a disappointment.
As well, it's time for the fourth quarter, guys. Let's switch gears to baseball. That's Jimbo's passion. And,
Yes, sir.
you know, this late start to, with spring training and all that is kind of brought everything up to speed in a hurry as far as free agency. Jimbo, what do you think of Freeman heading to the Dodgers? Did the rich get richer through all this?
I think so. I think that's kind of the way it works. You know, I thought it was a great move by the Dodgers. It's some of the fallout that I've read. The Braves kind of mishandled that a little bit when they went after Olsen from the A's, and I think as somebody who roots for the Dodgers, that I'm excited to see that lineup.
Freddie
I'm
Freeman.
excited for Freddie Freeman. He does have some of the biggest chiclets I've ever seen in my life.
Those are teeth, right?
Oh my gosh! Well, they are. Those are real. I mean,
they're horse teeth.
Sorry.
He could probably chew a corn on the cob through a picket fence. I've heard that said about guys.
And plus, he can hit home runs and drive in runs.
Yes, he can. And I think the Dodgers have a great team. I think they're the team to be in the National League at this point. I'm kind of interested. What's that?
Keep going.
No. I'm kind of interested to see how the American League shakes down. But you know, there are good teams. I don't know that the Dodgers are the clear-cut favorite, but man, with that lineup, they just need, and they've got pitching. So I think they are the team to beat.
Eric, remind me, are you a Rockies fan? I tend to remember you being a Rockies fan.
No, I am almost entirely useless when it comes to the sport of baseball.
Millennial.
Now, ask he'll say the opposite though. You're slated to produce a good share of Steve's games, right?
Yes, that is true. I do slave away at the bees, but I fall behind in interest very quickly, especially when the product for the bees is, quite frankly, terrible. I
spent a few long nights doing those games. Yeah,
they are out of contention by almost July. But know thyself. I do know baseball is my weakness, but here's what I can contribute to this conversation. I hooked my proverbial baseball wagon a few years ago to the Cincinnati Reds. They a few weeks ago decided to become terrible, and I would like to jump ship. So I'm taking I will take the baseball experts here recommendations. I'm looking for a young, fun team that's probably going to be in the playoff race and probably going to make the players. They have to have an ace pitcher and they have to have players that'll hit home runs. And that's what I'm looking for. Pitch me a team.
It's our team. It's funny because they're saying that about the Seattle Mariners this year, you know, because they have Robbie Ray. They've got some guys who have come up through the farm system who are finally ready to contribute. They say this like every 8 years about the Mariners or so. They say, finally, they're ready. They're ready to compete in the American League West.
Well, expanded playoffs are going to help.
That certainly will. But I mean, I'm trying not to, again, this happens like every 8-10 years where they say, yeah, the Mariners finally have a team. I invite you to join us, Eric, on the ride this year.
Jimbo knows a little about the M's too.
I do. Yes, I do. I like that. I like that team. I would say another team you might want to keep an eye on, Eric, would be, and you could hitch your wagon to the Philadelphia Phillies. At this point, I think they're a team that
Nick
might make some
Castellanos,
noise.
I like
Yes,
that.
yes, and
Okay,
of course
let's
Bryce
carry on.
Harper. That's just a thought. Just a thought for you.
Was
Okay.
Castellanos the one where that guy got fired halfway through the game, and
Yeah,
as he was announcing that he had been fired, and that's a home run by Castellanos to left field. That's a great meme.
Yeah.
That's
it's a great meme.
Yeah.
Great meme.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. Quite frankly, one of my favorite moments in television history.
Absolutely, that's a good one.
I watched that live. It was quite good. The one other team I've heard that I'll just throw out there, I don't know much about it because again, don't really pay attention to baseball. The Toronto Blue Jays. So you guys have given me 3 excellent options and 3 teams I'll add to my, on your sports app, you can add your quote unquote favorite teams. So they give you the updates every day. I immediately after this, I'll be adding the Mariners, the Phillies, and the Blue Jays. And those will be the teams I track this year.
You should do like a recruiting signing day thing where you get the hats out in front and pick one. I think that would
require
a lot of
him
fun
to
for
buy
your
3
audience.
hats.
Yeah,
he won't do
just
that.
return the other 2. Yeah.
Listen, I do collect baseball hats. I feel like all 3 of those will be good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, hey, it's time for our parting shots now, and I'll lead off because we're talking about baseball. And I just want to say that I'm glad baseball is going to be played on time. I've been the commissioner of a fantasy baseball league. We're in the midst of our 5th decade. It dates us a little bit, but I'll tell you what, I love it. And I love the fact that baseball is going to start end of the first week of April. And my parting shot is, congratulations, owners and players, on making an agreement. It's too bad spring training got foobarred. I don't like what's happened to the minor league system, but I do like the fact that the major leagues are starting on time.
Awesome. Yeah. I was trying to think, I don't really have a sports related parting shot. Let me just say, this is more of a Utah related parting shot. I saw this video over the weekend of for you. I don't know if you're aware of this guy, Post Malone. He's a rapper. He lives in Utah. Billboard magazine did a big story on him living in Utah. But I saw this this video of him. It looked like he was clearly in like a Salt Lake City bar, and this mom with a son who apparently has autism came up to him and was very excited to say, "Hey, my son's having his 21st birthday. He's having his first beer. He has autism. He loves your music." And it was an incredible video to watch because this Post Malone guy could not have been nicer. And it was just like, it was really sweet to see a guy on that level, who is a member of our community, just be so kind. That was the best thing I saw this week, and I really enjoyed that. So parting shot to Post Malone. I know he listens to the show. Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
I've got a great Post Malone story for you that kind of ruins that vibe, so I won't share it. But
that'll be an off mic one. Okay.
Yeah, let's make that off mic because we want him to buy some ads for our website here.
Yeah.
But it is a great Post Malone story. I'll say, hockey. I enjoy hockey. The team that perhaps makes me happiest in all of sports is the Colorado Avalanche. They are on a run right now to be reckoned with. They are a tremendous hockey team that will roll to the Stanley Cup and ultimately win by a lot. Avs and 4 all the way. That would be my parting shot. Oh, and one more kind of more random thing. Let me just
go ahead.
Ponder in my heart. I got to finally used my free Apple TV subscription, and Ted Lasso, I can't recommend it enough. It's a very good show. I thought it was quite good. I watched the whole thing over the past 2 or 3 days while multitasking the tournament. It's been quite good.
Just a note, the Colorado Avalanche were like the team that got me into hockey the most when I was little. I remember when they won their last Stanley Cup in 2001 with Ray Bourque and Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg, Patrick Waugh. It my off mic, our producer, my mom contends that Patrick Waugh's real name is Patrick Roy, which it is not. But anyway, so that was a good team. The Avalanche have a little place of notoriety in my heart, I guess. So Jimbo, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Well, first of all, there is a small community up in northern Utah, and I don't know whether it's Roy or Waugh now.
They're named after the goalie. Yeah,
I know quite a few good friends of mine and Dirk's from the town of Waugh.
The Waugh Royals are one of my favorite teams.
There you go. There's a couple of things I've mulled over for a parting shot. This has been a hot story for quite a while this year. It's Princeton swimmer Leah Thomas and transgendered swimmer. She has dominated the Ivy League and won very handily a race at the NCAA swimming championships earlier this week. It's a thorny issue. It's a very thorny issue, and one it requires a lot more time than just a parting shot. But I would say that, as somebody that's kind of followed this issue, I do feel like ultimately the NCAA is going to have to take a hard stand one way or the other, and just be. The NCAA is not great at doing that. The NCAA is not great at doing a lot of things the right way, but I do feel like they need to just stand up and make a decision on whether we're gonna allow transgendered athletes, or it's not even about transgender. It's just males, biological males swimming against females, and so they need to make a call one way or the other, and it's going to be a difficult one, and there's going to be blowback either way.
Yeah, I think that's something we've even seen here at the local level. I think that's something that's been kicked around by the Utah legislature a little bit. So it is a really interesting issue. And I think you're right. It does take more than the time we have left. We'd have just a minute or two before we get zoomed. But yeah, I don't know what the answer is. It's an incredibly hard question. So I don't know. I think it's something we're all going to really have to think about. I don't know what the answer is. So
I'll just say, for me, the answer is empathy. I want to do what's best for these athletes. It's hard enough. I have some friends that have come out as transgendered over the years, and it's hard enough as it is to make that transition. You shouldn't be, additionally judged. There shouldn't be more roadblocks for people who are making an incredibly tough life decision. So whatever helps and advantages those athletes the most, for that decision. But it is a thorny subject.
You have to have empathy across the board, though. I would say you have to have empathy across the board, and I do have empathy for the swimmers who've trained most of their lives to get to that point, and they unfortunately don't really get a chance to win like they'd always imagined that they would. And so, I mean, again, it's an incredibly thorny issue, and I totally agree with Eric that empathy needs to be handled with empathy across the board. And I mean, it's a thorny subject too, because if you care about women's issues, you've got to care about female athletes that may not get that chance to win like they would think that they'd imagined. And of course, the other side of that coin is you have to have empathy for people who are going through such so many difficult challenges. And so, again, I didn't mean to open up a can of worms. I'm just saying that it's just ultimately the NCAA is going to have a really hard decision to make, but they're going to have to come out and make a decision.
Definitely. Hey, I mean, we could talk about that one for hours, but I feel like that was probably a good point to end on. So.
No, thanks for joining us, guys and listeners. Thank you for tuning in, and just to invite you to listen to us on our website. This is theplaysports.com, or anywhere fine podcasts are broadcast.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before we go another week?
Yeah. Also, check out the work that our friends here, Eric and Jimbo, do. Jimbo maintains a funny presence online. Say hello to Jimbo on Twitter. Eric Eric works on a podcast just about every day, I think. So check out the End Zone podcast. Check out his Utah coverage at the Daily. It's not the Daily Utah Chronicle anymore, just the Utah Chronicle. And just big thanks to these guys.
I think it is the Daily Utah Chronicle, actually, still.
I thought they dropped the Daily, but maybe you're right. I don't know. It's been a few years, so
yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
All right, cool. Anyway, thanks, guys.
I appreciate you having me. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks again. We'll have you guys on again soon. Thank you.
Oh, and Dirk, of course. Thank you, guys.
You betcha.
Yes.
See you guys.